Hi guys, day 27. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about compassion and kindness. So what is compassion? Um, Compassion for me is about being present and is about being very mindful of our own suffering and the suffering of other people. So, when they're hurt, when they're angry, when they're sad, being able to empathize with them, and then but not only just empathize with them and to be present with their suffering, but to want to um have that love enough to want to do something about it, to want to end their suffering, to want to make them happier. And that's what I think compassion is. And compassion can be practiced through kindness and being caring, and and just helping others to get over their sadness. Um, and I feel like compassion is a key to active citizenship. I feel like, it's so important to practice compassion, and it's so important to teach our children how to practice compassion, because it is actually the key to being active citizens, to being able to help others, to being able to have that empathy and that enough empathy and enough love to actually go and do something about a situation. So there are so many benefits to being compassionate. Like, as a compassionate person, you're able to build better relationships. You're able to connect better with the people around you, because there is love, there's trust, there's loyalty. It helps you to become a much more fulfilled, happier, and healthier person, because it improves the health by boosting the immune response. You're less stressed when you're a compassionate person, and that has, there's been research about it. What else? There's an increased feeling of peace, and I guess, like, when as you recognize that there are solutions to problems, and solutions to how we can end our own pains and sufferings and sadness, you actually become less afraid of suffering, because you respond with love and positive emotions and affiliations and things like that. So how can we teach our children how to be compassionate? Through kindness and through care. I really like this story, and it's called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? So this story is about sort of recognizing that we all have these invisible buckets on top of our heads. And basically it's about this boy, and he goes to school and he's empty. And so he's not feeling like giving, and obviously he hasn't given to himself as well. So what Have You Filled Your Bucket Today is about is how we can be kind to others to help them fill their buckets, but how being kind to others and being compassionate to others actually helps us fill our buckets, because we feel good for I guess helping others feel good and feel happy. So I'd read the story to the children in the classroom, and then we would discuss, different ways of. We'll discuss who we can fill, whose buckets we can fill. So who are the important people in our lives where we can go and fill their buckets, and we'll also discuss what sort of things can we do to help fill their buckets, and to help ourselves fill our buckets as well. And yeah, and then what one of the activities I'll do is we'll make some buckets, and we'll put it in the classroom, and we'll make sure that we can try and fill each other's buckets by giving each other really nice notes. So that's another way of caring. Yeah, or another thing that I've done is I had a week of kindness where every child in my room has to do something kind for someone else, and it doesn't with it during that day, and it doesn't have to be within the classroom. It can be people they see in the playground. It can be in the mornings when they help their mum and dad do something. So yeah, and then we discuss it in the classroom. We discuss yesterday's kindness in the classroom. What else? In the story it also talks about bucket dippers and their attitude. And basically, bucket dippers are people who interrupt, who are bullies, who lie, who name call. So all the negative stuff, all the negative attitudes of a person, and how to recognize that. And so not only does the story talk about how we can fill a bucket, but how someone can actually dip into someone else's bucket as well, and how we can how we can stop that from happening. Yeah, I mean, like, another thing that you can do, which I've done as well, is like I get children. I mean, like, especially with things that are going around the world right now, and things that are happening around the world. For example, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Nepal had an earthquake, and so we watched a little clip of the earthquake, and we talked about what happened. What happened to the earthquake, what might have happened to the people during the earthquake, what is happening now after the earthquake, and what we can do about it. So trying to get your child to empathize on what's happening at the moment. Current news is a great one to do. I mean, like, with all the climate change that's happening, and how it affects animals, how it affects the polar bears, for example, or deforestation, and how it affects all the animals in the forest. And yeah, so discuss all those things with your children. It's never too early to learn about what is happening in our environment. And I mean, like, in year one, we used to teach, I used to teach history, and in history we used to teach Florence Nightingale. And what, I mean, like, it's a piece of history, but what Florence Nightingale taught us is not just to remember, when she was born and when she went to the Crimean War, and how she helped. I mean, but what she did, and the compassion that she showed. So these should be the things that are highlighted in our history lessons. These are the things that you can talk to your children about when you're discussing a piece of history homework with your children. Discuss why they were so famous, what made them so famous, how did these people show compassion, and how did they change their world through their actions and through the compassion that they had. For example, Mary Seacole was another famous a woman in history that we focus on at school. And she, despite her color and the limitations she was able to do because of her race, back in the early 1900s, or 1800s, I don't remember. But yeah, despite that, she funded herself to go to the Crimean War when Florence Nightingale didn't want to work with her, and she funded herself. She knew she was able to help. She wanted to help, and she put herself right in the middle of you know, the war, where the casualties were, and she brought all those people for healing. I mean, you know, if that's not compassion, then what is it? So yeah, I mean, there's lots. I mean, there's so many ways of learning about compassion, and you know, especially in the UK with the curriculum, talking about all these famous women in history. It's a great chance, and I know that a lot of the times we use we use history as homework. So, you know, delve into compassion, delve into how they were kind, delve into, you know, their grit in changing the world. Okay, so anyway, that is me for today. That is my topic on compassion, and hope you learned something about it. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow for day 28. See you later. Bye.